So Foamstars had their open beta this past weekend, and if you don't know what Foamstars is, it's the new shooter that Square Enix is working on. A multiplayer online game where you have a team-based shooter of 4v4 matches, and the objective for the main game type, Smash the Star, is to get the enemy team down to their last life and then destroy the star player, thus winning the match. There is another game mode in the beta called Happy Bath Survival, but I don't like it. I don't like it, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm only really going to be talking about the main game mode, which is Smash the Star. So I'm also a Splatoon player, and I know a lot of people have made comparisons to this game, being like a Splatoon knockoff, Splatoon at home, whatever jokes that people will come up with. And trust and believe, I definitely participated in those until I actually sat down and played this game this weekend. So I can definitely say without a doubt that other than the fact that it's just an online team-based shooter, there's not really much in the way of calling this like a Splatoon ripoff. It just does not play the same. The movement is not the same. The only thing that you can really say is that beyond it being a team-based shooter is that it's colorful. And there are tons of games out there that are colorful that don't necessarily make them a knockoff of something else. So let's get into why I feel the way I feel based on like my actual experience and not just word of mouth. So when you start up a match, and I'm specifically talking about what was it called? Smash the Star, Smash the Star game mode. You start off on one of two maps where the objective is basically to take the enemy team's collective lives, because both teams have 7 lives, not each player, but as a team you have 7 lives. And once you get them down to their last life, that's when their star player would appear. Now, usually that's the MVP player on the team who will end up being the star player. And at that point, you just bring that person's health bar down to 0, thus winning the match. The movement in this game, now there is gyro controls, but for a game like this, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them because it doesn't really play the same as something like Splatoon in terms of movement. The movement, in my opinion, feels more akin to Fortnite or Knockout City, if you ever played either of those games. And honestly, in general, I feel like this game is a mix of like Fortnite and Knockout City. Like the movement feels very similar to Fortnite, but then you have like the fun indie weirdness of like Knockout City, but even in its like what am I trying to say? Even in its movement, it still feels like Knockout City more than it would ever feel like Splatoon. I guess some people who, if they played Overwatch or something, they might make a comparison to that, but I don't play Overwatch that often to, get like a regular feel for how that game's movement is. So that's what I would say this game is more akin to. It's very colorful. I mean, there's a lot going on the screen at one time. I would say, for the most part, the characters all feel somewhat on the same level, but you definitely have some characters that are just better than the others. And I would say the two main ones that are pretty much better than the others are the box art character Soa, with her kind of like bubble shooters and long pink hair and her baseball cap, and also Agito, who's like a shark influencer streamer e-boy. I would say both of them are like pretty up there in terms of like viability. And just in general, the way that you play this game is a lot different than something that you will play, again, like Splatoon. So in Splatoon, if your teammate gets splatted, there's nothing that you can really do to save them. They just respawn and go back. In this game, you have an opportunity to save a teammate before they get what they call in the game, instead of a kill, it's a chill. So before you get chilled, your teammate has the opportunity to save you. So basically, they just go over and hit you with their surfboard, and you're not respawn, because I don't think you come back with full health, but you are saved a death, basically. And the whole point is to make sure that you conserve the amount of lives that you have as a team, so that way you can beat the opponent down and take their lives and win. because that's the objective at the end of the day, is to take their lives and win. Um, and other than that, if you foam up your opponent enough and then you hit them with your surfboard, because that's your movement option, I guess that you would say if you're a squid form, um, then they get chilled, which means that that team loses a life. But if their team saves them, like if your team would save you, then of course that doesn't happen, and yada yada yada. But even outside of that, like, I'm trying to figure out like a good way to like phrase this, but even outside of like the main gameplay, it just does not feel like Splatoon at all. So that's why I really wanted to make this video, because I know a lot of people, especially during like people who actually played the game during open beta, I guess for clicks or for whatever, will like troll and say, "Oh, this game's Splatoon knockoff," while they're streaming the game. I'm just like, what? No. And this is, I'm mostly talking about like the YouTube side of things. On the Twitch side of things, people were like very like respectful and like giving the game a chance, like honestly and everything. But there are going to be, I feel like the bad thing about this game is that there are going to be a ton of like Nintendo fanboys who will vehemently stick to the idea that this game is a Splatoon ripoff and it's a Splatoon killer or something like that. Like, in the same realm where Pokemon fans cannot fathom the idea of another monster taming game existing, so they've invented this term Pokemon-like, or Pokemon ripoff, or Pokemon clone, instead of just monster taming game, which Pokemon is not even the inventor of genre-wise. So I feel like, unfortunately, this game will always be compared to Splatoon just because it's a colorful, fun shooter, and I guess if it's not a Splatoon shooter, then it has to be gritty and like a Michael Bay movie visuals of just like dark and whatever visually, not like the actual like content. Because the content in this game is very much lighthearted and fun. And just like my opinion on like the other stuff in the game, I think the characters are all really cool, and like for the most part the characters are really cool. I think Jet Justice is pretty lame. His archetype is pretty lame, like a wannabe superhero, but he's not even dressed like one. At the very least, they could have gave him a visor. Like, he could be wearing a visor, and I think that would be pretty cool. Other ones, the two that didn't stand out at all to me were the Baristador, who was like a barista who shoots foam out of, I guess, like a, you know, like a like Starbucks giant weapon thing. And then also, I think her name is Melty, who's like candy and sugar and like just like candy themed person. Those two did not stand out the most to me, but everyone else kind of did to me. Like, you had Penny Gwen, who was another character who is very much like super bird themed. Like, she's obsessed with birds. She might have been raised by them by the way she talks. And then, of course, Agito's like the streamer dude, but he doesn't really come across as like the annoying streamer type. He's more like a supportive person. Like, even if he's losing, he's still supportive. And that's refreshing and cute. I like him. He's probably my favorite character. And I was a big Soa hater until I saw the light. And now I am very much a Soa appreciator. I love her voice lines. They're very much fun. I think a lot of the voice acting in this game, there's going to be a mixed bag of people, whether you like them or not. There are going to be people who like the Japanese side of things, because you can change the voice settings. But I definitely do think the Japanese voice acting is a lot better than the English ones. That's not a knock to like the English voice actors. I just think the Japanese side of it sounds better, because the English side of it sounds very hammy and campy and almost like cartoonish, while, you know, like the Japanese side of things sounds, you know, just like normal. Like, it's not, you're not hamming up their performance to be like a character. Like, instead of just be like, "Hey, I'm Kyle," it's like, "Hey, I'm Kyle." Like, it gets a little bit much sometimes. And it's not unenjoyable, but sometimes it can be pretty annoying. But and I definitely do think like the two worst offenders of that on the English side of things, there's Agito and also Jet Justice. There's another character that was in like the promo and stuff who we did not actually get a chance to play as. right? Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to play him. I'm trying to figure out what was his name. I'm going through my, because I definitely did save like a bunch of like Foamstars official stuff. What was your name, sir? He was in a tutorial. Bublo Espuma. So he's going to be another playable character in the future, I assume, when the game fully comes out. And he's like the one with the golden hair and a ponytail. And everyone in this game looks like a hype beast. It's like if you took a dislight and took out all the Greek, like not Greek god, all the god stuff, and you just made them like hype beast streamers, and just put them in a team-based shooter. That's what this game feels like. It's very funny and it's very fun. Like I had a lot of fun this weekend. I did not expect to have as much fun as I did. Big shout outs to Aaron. I believe it's Aaron FGC on Twitch. He is a competitive gamer, and I was in his stream, and he was the top streamer for this game. I want to say like the entire weekend. So, Square Enix, please sponsor him. I will definitely throw my hat in the ring in terms of like campaigning for him to get that sponsorship. Get him that sponsorship. He pretty much carried this the entire weekend on Twitch. So shout out to him. And yeah, when this game fully comes out, it should, if I'm not mistaken, it should be free to play. And the only monetization should be like, you know, like cosmetics and stuff. It's following the typical game model of free to play, cosmetics cost, and I assume, at least I hope, that future characters added to the game will not cost like money or whatever. Like don't be a Pokemon Unite. That's like, I guess, my biggest thing. Like, please don't be a Pokemon Unite where like I have to pay for characters and it's like a pay to win model or whatever. Like, just make every character ever added free and make all the customization options cost money. Like, and of course, like if you want like if there's a battle pass system, of course you pay for the battle pass. Like, that's stuff that I expect to be monetized, and that's a completely optional thing. Like, you don't have to do it, and it's not going to give somebody else an unfair advantage if they do it. But other than that, I definitely would recommend this game. I feel like if you are a Splatoon player and you do have a PS4 or PS5, I think it's PlayStation exclusive, not just PS5 exclusive, but I could be wrong. But let's just say PS5 just to be on the safe side. So if you are a Splatoon player and you do have a PS5, check this game out. It's very fun. Like, I don't think it's a Splatoon ripoff. You're definitely going to get an entirely different vibe. It's different gameplay. There's different objectives. There's different movements. The kits of the weapons and the players are all different. It's not like Splatoon. Like, for one thing, you have two different... let's actually get into that real quick, because this will be the last thing I talk about. Each player has their main fire weapon. They have two different skills that you use on your L1 and your L2. And then you also have a special once that gauge charges up fully. In Splatoon, you just have your main fire, you have one sub-weapon, and of course you have your special. Now, there's definitely some specials in this game that are reminiscent of Splatoon, like the Killer Whale, the Baller from Splatoon 2, and Splashdown from Splatoon 2 as well. But, like, Splatoon didn't invent those types of weapons. And I'm just saying, like, in the sense that a splashdown can literally be from anything. Like, I'm pretty sure Overwatch has something similar, but that doesn't mean that Splatoon copied Overwatch or Overwatch copied Splatoon. Let shooters exist, just like we should let monster taming games exist. This is an entirely different game. This is not a Splatoon ripoff. I will keep saying it. I will just keep saying it. This is not a Splatoon ripoff. This is its own identity. And I hope Square puts in a decent amount of support to this game, because I definitely do feel like it has the potential to be a really fun, a really unique and original IP for them, because I don't think Square has any shooters. I would have to look that up. Actually, let's look that up right now. Let's see if Square Enix has any shooters. Square Enix shooters. Oh yeah, they definitely do, but nothing like this. And I don't think any of these are like multiplayer games. They're usually like single player games. Yeah. So check this game out when it comes out next year in 2024. They said early 2024, so let's hope that's like by the spring and not the summer. Also, check out the official pages. I'll leave the website, the Twitter, and all that stuff in the description below. Artists, fellow artists, let's make fan art. One of the best things for a new IP or just any IP is fan support. So that's fan art. I don't know what fan music you can make, but that's another thing. The music in this game slaps. Like, it's really good. I hope they actually rip the music and upload it to YouTube at some point. And for games like this, the thing that keeps these games alive is both casual and competitive content consistently uploaded to YouTube. So if and when this game does come out, well, for one thing, I feel like, not to sound all businessy, but you could be one of the first top people who like consistently makes content on this game and get popularity from that, just because who knows how many people are actually gonna like seriously, like commit to grinding out this game for content. But also fan artists, like this is a new thing to, it's a new trend and everyone chase trends. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying chasing trends is a thing, and you could be one of the first to do it as well. So if you like fun games, check it out. If you like Square Enix, check it out. If you like cool movement-based shooters, check it out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. If you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more of my content. This is pretty much just me rambling for like 17 minutes, but I don't care. I just wanted to talk about this game. It was really fun. I had a ton of fun this weekend playing it, and I cannot wait for it to come out next year. And until then, I guess I'll just keep uploading my other stuff. Anyway, bye.